Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the final day of our workshop, Unmasking the Criminal Mind Forensic Psychology in Practicing. Today, as we step into our last session, we carry with us not just a knowledge but also a new perspective on the criminal mind and the role psychology play in uncovering the truth. Participants, please be active audience and engage in the discussion. Ma'am, please start the meeting.
All right, give me a minute. I'll be starting.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so good evening to one and all, and I hope you're still very keen to learn new things about psychology. And this is the last day of our session. So I really need some active participation. Okay, so we'll be diving in onto some deeper level of criminal psychology. But if you guys are not responsive and interactive enough, the lesson and the session will be very boring to you then. Okay, so let's start. We'll start with an icebreaker. So I need you guys to answer, all of you. Here are some statements that I've laid for you all. You need to tell whether a statement is truth or a lie. All right. And this is something that we have already learned before. So I hope all of you will be answering it. Okay. So the first statement is most psychopaths are serial killers. Is it truth or a lie? Either you can drop your answers on the chat or you can, yeah, people are dropping the chat. All right. Can anyone tell me why? Anyone? Good
Good
evening,
evening,
dear.
ma'am. Ma'am, according to these statements, most psychopaths are serial killers. This is a lie because I believe that not every mental disorder is associated with violent behavior. Mental thoughts of doing such things, or there might not be such thoughts, but it is not always true that they act upon their instincts. So I think that
All
is why
right.
this is a lie.
Great. Anyone else? Okay, people dropped. So all of you, yeah, yes, so all of you have answered it correctly that it is a lie. All right. So we'll move on to the next one. Richard Chase was a disorganized offender. Is it truth or a lie? If you guys remember the last session, we have discussed one case study and Richard Chase was there. Okay. Guys, you can answer over chat. It's not that hard. Okay. So yes, most of you have answered that it is a truth. All right. So yes, Richard Chase was a very disorganized offender, and he used to choose victim randomly. He used to kill them randomly. So yes. Next is Ted Bundy faked an injury to lure victim. Okay, this is again a truth. Next is John Hinckley Jr. shot President Reagan to impress an actress. If you guys remember, this is the case study from our first session. Anybody wants to say it out loud? I would really appreciate it. Okay, correct again. It is again a truth. Then, last one, forensic psychologist can testify about the defendant's competency to stand trial. Okay, so again, all of you answered it correctly. It is again a truth. But I need answer of the word competency. What competency stands for? Yeah, how would you define competency? Anybody from the okay, somebody's writing some. Yes, yes, I got it. Everybody wrote true, but the competency word here is, can you explain what competency means? Okay, Anushka wrote something. Anushka, who else? Can somebody else answer? Okay, what you wrote is actually correct for the word competency, but here in psychology, yes, Shanshu, somewhat correct. Okay, so let me explain before we move forward because this is very important. So, competency here in psychology means somebody who is able to understand the court trial. Okay, the ability to understand the court trial, the court procedure, and again, the crime that he has done, the understanding of it is called competency. Okay, this is a definition as far as the psychology is concerned. All right. But I'll assume that most of you understand whatever we have taught in previous sessions. All right. So let's move forward. Today we are going to discuss about a very important aspect of a crime, that is interrogation. All right. No crime can be solved without interrogation. So it is a very crucial process, and we will dive into some important aspect of interrogation. All right. So I hope I am audible now. The screen is visible. Everything is going on smoothly. Please somebody reply to this so that I can move forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay,
Yes,
great.
ma'am.
Great. So Here we'll be discussing about a model that is widely used for interrogation. All right, that is called peace model. So it stands for preparation, planning, engage and explain, account, closure, and evaluate. So basically, this peace model is a protocol and a standard in UK and interrogation. So it is basically used in interrogation. So in order to maintain a fairness and integrity, also respect of individuals' rights, the interrogation has to go on smoothly. All right, and we need to follow some framework in order to the process. So that is why this whole model was created. So we'll dive into some deeper understanding of this model. So first, P is for preparation and planning for effective interrogation. Okay, here we have some characteristic of the planning and preparation part, so that we have at the end an effective interrogation. All right. So first we really need to establish objective. अगर हमारे पास एक objective ही clear नहीं होगा that why we are interrogating someone, then we cannot move forward with. ठीक है? So we need to understand that why we are interrogating some individual. So the objective needs to be very clear. Next, the gathering of background information. So if we have relevant data about the suspect, so the context of the case become very real and the interrogation go very smoothly and it get very effective by going forward. All right. And last is identifying the resources. What kind of resources do we have? I mean, do we have a trained personnel to interrogate? Look, अगर हमारे पास एक ट्रेन प्रोफेशनल नहीं है, इंटेरोगेशन इफेक्टिव नहीं होगा, हमें एक रिजल्ट इफेक्टिवली नहीं डिराइव कर पाएंगे. All right. And there has to be some legal framework as well. We cannot go and do something that is out of the law. It defies the purpose of interrogation. All right. So these all aspects are very important. Next is E for engage and explain. So first of all, we need to understand that what worked and what didn't. So during the evaluation, all right, the person will only talk to us if they trust us, that we are the right person to talk to. And this is not just about suspect, all right. Any kind of interrogation needs a trust. The suspect will talk smoothly when he has trust. The suspect will tell us they'll talk smoothly when he has trust. So we need to build a certain kind of rapport for the interrogation purposes. Then clarifying the process. So it is basically in the purpose of this interrogation is very clear. Again, it is suspect. All right. The purpose of this interrogation. There shouldn't be any kind of manipulation. That we are talking to them and we are telling them that we need information from them without telling them the motive of this interrogation very clearly. So this is not ethical. Next is utilizing active listening. So active listening is basically a technique and a method that make other person understand that we are listening to him or her, and this makes the communication very easy. All right, and brings a productive dialogue out of it. Next is A for account. All right, so we have to take certain things into account, like assessing the effectiveness. So during the evaluation of our whole process of interrogation, it helps us understanding that what kind of process works for us, what cannot. All right. Again, identifying the improvement areas. So once we have done multiple interrogation, we need to analyze that what worked and what didn't. so that we can pinpoint the areas that need enhancement. It will lead to a better understanding of interrogation process, and it will get improved by day. Next is learning from each lesson. Each interrogation present an opportunity for learning. We meet new people if we are interrogating new cases, all right, and we get to learn from their experiences and our mistakes. So this will make our interrogation very effective in future. All right. Next is closure. So we cannot leave the interrogation halfway. We need to close it down. If we are going forward with the statement taking or interrogating about the crime scene or the evidences that we found, we need to close it properly. We cannot leave it halfway. If we do it, we defy the purpose of interrogation. All right. And at the end, we have evaluate. The E stands for evaluate in the end. So once we have all the data, all the information with us, we need to evaluate very thoroughly so that we derive some important aspects from it, a definite result from it. If we do not evaluate our interrogation, again, it will be senseless and pointless. So these are the five important aspects of peace model for interrogation. I hope this is clear till now. Is it? Okay. Okay, great. Great, great. So now we'll move on to the ethics in interrogation. So as we have discussed earlier that we cannot do interrogation illegally. All right, we cannot do anything in the interrogation that doesn't falls under the law. So there are certain ethics that are involved in it. All right. So basically that we know that interrogation are very critical component of justice system, and it needs ethical handling in order to protect right of the suspects and individual whosoever we are interrogating. So we should ensure that the whole process are very evidential based and maintain the integrity of justice system. And also it will minimize the risk of false confession, and pressure and fear. So that won't be adding up to the integrity of our justice system. So we should avoid such kind of practices that can lead to false confession. All right, a commitment to ethical standard reinforce public trust in the legal system. If we fail to do an interrogation ethically, so that can lead to the distrust of public onto the legal system. And in India, it's very common. You all must hear every now and then that somebody out of somewhere says कि India का legal system बहुत बेकार है. We do not trust the justice system of India, and it is very common, right? So why this happens? Because kahin na kahin some false confessions are there. Somebody get falsely accused, and the verdict falls far from the reality. All right. So this kind of practice leads to the distrust of public. That should never happen. Okay. Then what are the importance of ethical interrogation? So first, the interrogation should follow the established protocol to protect the right of suspect and prevent coercion during questioning. That means there are certain protocols in every interrogation, be that in India or in certain state of India. Okay, there are set protocols, what kind of procedures are allowed during interrogation, what are not. All right. So we need to follow that protocol in order to maintain the right of suspect, because even suspects have some rights. All right. So uh, we cannot define that what suspect should do. We only can define what ethically we can do during interrogation. All right. So the word coercion here means any kind of manipulation. Why? Because sometimes what happen is a person said something suspect per se, said something, and we interpreted it in a very different way. So it shouldn't be there. If a person is giving any kind of statement, it should go as it is. We cannot manipulate the statement. Okay. Second is legal standard. We should literally stick to the legal standard. It's very crucial because the use of improper techniques na, can lead to wrongful conviction. And again, we have mentioned that public mistrust can happen and we should avoid it at any cost. Then training. Whosoever we are appointing as an interrogator must be formally trained and know every ethical and legal practices that is required during the interrogation. All right, so that there are no chances of biasness. Now, witness statement accuracy. Earlier, we were talking about basically the suspect. All right. Now we are moving on to the witness statement accuracy. So, first of all, we should consider few things. Example, the memory reliability. All right, witness statement somewhere, I mean, it usually happens that we forget something. All right, yeah, we forget some minor details out of an, an incident. So there we should consider this possibility if a witness is stating something or giving some kind of statement, there are chances that he or she might be mistaken or might be forgetting something. All right. The whole reliability shouldn't be there. That if a witness is saying something, we should consider that memory can be fallible. All right. Then cognitive interview technique. We always should make the individual very relaxed. We should provide a relaxing environment when we are taking the witness statement. Why? And can anybody tell me why? I hope you got my question that why we need to make the witness very relaxed during the interrogation.
Ma'am, if the witness is nervous, then he or she might have seen, and so they need to in a relaxed state so that they can recall every details clearly, or we do not confuse one thing with another.
Very nice, great. Yes, exactly. So what happened is, even you must have experienced this somewhere that during a practical or a viva. This is one example of it. If some external asks question very strongly, or the examiner is very strict. Okay, there are chances that you might forget something that you already know. You have read it, you have studied it well, but because the tone is so harsh, you might forget it. All right. So such kind of incident can happen with witness as well. So we make sure the witness is relaxed so that the memory can be boosted. All right. Next is contextual factors. That mean context is very important. For example, मैंने किसी को भी कहा that you're looking so beautiful in this dress. I hate this thing about you. But yahi statement somebody presented in a very wrongful way. That Charu is saying that some XYZ person, she hate that thing about her. Okay, without the context, and state a statement can mislead many people that in what context this statement has been passed. Okay. Now, testimonies in court. So, believing that you all are from forensic background, I hope that testimony, what testimony is, you all are aware of. All right. The cross examination, the re examination is something that you already know. Okay, I'm moving forward based on this assumption. If not, please tell me right now. You all know? Yes or no? Okay. Okay. Okay, you all know. Great. So, in testimonies, and this, when we are talking about testimonies, this is not just about the suspect, also taking the space. So, oath and accountability. First of all, the testimonies that are given under oath, basically, it emphasizes try to make them take oath of the Gita, all right, or Quran in some cases. So there is a fair or there is a unsaid responsibility over people that they have to be truthful there. Those few chooses not to be truthful, but it is emphasized that they have some kind of accountability of it. Okay. Second is cross examination process, and it's a very, you all know, cross examination is very important, and it is a critical phase that allow the opposing party to challenge the testimony. So if there is any inconsistency or any bias, okay, it will be revealed during the cross examination process. Third is proving credibility. The court assess witness credibility based on reliability, consistency, and detailed information presentation. So, court also considers whether a person is credible. Can we rely on that person's statement, or the statement that has been given in the interrogation, whether that statement is matching the statement of the court? So, they also consider that whether a person is lying or not. All right. So, they also consider that statement is given. Now, the golden rule of truth. We have to know whether a person is lying or not, whether the statement is true or not. All right. First, that we have discussed memory distortion. Memory distortion is very real. We all have been through that. That truth can easily be distorted, and also physical strain. Okay, a person is not feeling well, he or she might not even focus on the interrogation or the question we are asking. Okay, so that kind of thing do distort memory, and it can affect the statement of an individual. All right, so it is very essential to approach the investigation very thoughtfully, that how we are going to proceed with the investigation. Next is psychological insight. So there are memory biases that we are very well aware of. So if we understand that memory biases are very real and how it can affect the statement, it will be very helpful for us in order to interview certain individual and understand the psychology behind such statement, whether he or she is under pressure or stress. So if we understand that kind of psychology, it will be very clear to us that whether a person is lying or not, or not even lying, whether the statement given by an individual is a truth or not. All right. Now, if we implement the psychological theory that we already read, all right, that makes us very fluent and very efficient in understanding the statement's credibility. All right, it really minimize memory errors, and that is how the quality of evidence presentation improves. All right, and that applies to interrogation and court testimony both. So these are the golden rules that we should consider. Now, till now, if somebody have any doubt, can tell me. Otherwise, we'll move forward. Any doubt? Okay. There's no doubt. So, have you all heard of lie detection?
Yes, ma'am.
ओके सो कोई मुझे बताना चाहेगा क्या सुना है क्या देखा है या क्या पढ़ा है अबाउट लाई डिटेक्शन एनीथिंग दैट you'd like to add or tell us नथिंग फिर क्या पढ़ा है तुम लोगों ने
मैम लाई डिटेक्शन में टेस्ट होता है टेस्ट होता है जिसमें हम उस पर्सन के ब्रेन एक्टिविटीज उसके नर्व एक्टिविटीज उसके फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन इन सबको देखकर ये
एंड
ओके
पता
मैम
करते
लाई
हैं कि वो पर्सन
डिटेक्शन
झूठ बोल
तो
रहा
कोर्ट
है
में
या नहीं।
एडमिसिबल
इसका
भी
तो
नहीं होता है बिकॉज इट इज जस्ट रीडिंग ऑफ माइंड और उसके बेसिस पे हम कोई कोर्ट कोई भी जजमेंट नहीं दे सकता है. इट इज जस्ट फॉर
ओके
फॉरवर्डिंग द केस.
मैम लाई
ओके
डिटेक्शन में बेसिकली हम फिजियोलॉजिकल चेंजेस को नोट करते हैं कि वो उसके ब्लड प्रेशर वगैरह क्या है और उससे ही हम लोग जस्ट अंदाज़ा लगाते हैं कि वो पर्सन झूठ बोल रहा है या सच.
ओके ग्रेट वैसे आई वाज आस्किंग अबाउट लाई डिटेक्शन इन जनरल नॉट लाई डिटेक्शन टेस्ट दैट इज उसका दूसरा नाम भी होता है कैन एनीबॉडी टेल मी व्हाट्स अनदर नेम फॉर लाई डिटेक्शन टेस्ट
Polygraphy.
करेक्ट पॉलीग्राफी टेस्ट आई वाजंट आस्किंग फॉर दैट मुझे सिर्फ लाई डिटेक्शन के बारे में तुम्हें क्या पता है वो पूछना था बट इट्स ग्रेट टू नो दैट यू ऑल हैव रेड अबाउट इट एंड यू नो प्रिटी वेल ग्रेट ओके तो अभी हम बात करने वाले हैं सिर्फ लाई डिटेक्शन के बारे में so there are certain myths about lie detection session as well. First of all, we need to know that why lie detection matters. Why do we need to detect lies? Okay, so whether it is interrogation, witness statements, and testimony, usually it is based on the truthfulness, and where it lacks is the truthfulness. So sometimes people do misread information. All right, so psychology is something that provides the evidence based tool. Okay, it's not generalized, it's not based on assumptions. Psychology gives us the tool that is evidence based. All right, so in psychology, we do focus on what people say, not just how they look. Okay, remember and please do focus on the word just how they look. All right. So there are some common myths that we read in the books as well, and that is very generalized. And I have particularly mentioned it in the previous sessions as well, that it is very common and widespread that liars avoid eye contact. Okay, so this is a myth because thoda sa I have briefed you about this particular thing in the last session. So there are many cases and there are many situations जिसमें a person avoids eye contact. So many liars are there who maintain too much eye contact in order to appear very honest because everybody have read about it that there are signs in order to catch a individual whether they are lying or not so they what they do is they purposefully they do eye contact all right so this is not a definite signature of a liar next is nervous body language and we consider it if somebody is being nervous and the body language is very nervous he might be lying but keyword being might all right there's no definitive proof that if a person seems nervous he or she is lying there can be other factors as well so anxiety can mean nervousness stress trauma but not necessarily lying all right next is then the lie detector tests are 100% accurate. अभी हमने polygraph के बारे में बात करा ना. So it is why it is not admissible in court of law, because it's not 100% accurate. There can be false measures, all right. So basically heart rate, sweat, breathing can be affected by some other factors, all right, and that cannot certainly mean that a person is lying. So also polygraph can be cheated, and stress can trigger the results, and it can be falsified as well. All right. Then liar always fidgets or shift posture. Fidgets मतलब इधर उधर position अपना change कर रहा है, not staying in a certain position. No position is fixed for him or her. All right. So this is not at all true, because some liar can stay usually still, and innocent people may fidget under pressures. ठीक है? And then next is sorry. Next is facial expression always reveal lie. No, some individuals are very habitual of lying and they show no facial expression of lying. All right, some micro expression may slip, like they twitches their eyes, or their lip twitches. So that again certainly doesn't mean that a person is definitely lying. All right, but there are experts who can grab onto some micro expression, all right, but again they don't even have the surety that I am catching the ultimate liar. Okay, so these all the are the myths that usually floats over the surface, and people tends to believe it if they are showcasing certain kind of micro expression or nervous body language, then a person is definitely lying. So this is no go. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, scientific realities. Okay. Previously, in the previous slide, we have discussed about the myth. Now we'll come to the realities of lie detection. First of all, content is always preferred over the body language. The verbal cues are very reliable and more reliable than the non-verbal cues. Non-verbal means again something that is not coming out of your mouth is non-verbal. So liars usually do give na vague, rehearse, yeah, overly simplified story so that they seems or they look very natural and very normal. Okay, and sorry, because second is cognitive load. That means if a person is lying, so he'll be keep on making himself believe that he is telling the truth, and he will be repeating the story. He'll be very consistent about it. He might be inventing details. So if we reverse engineer this, or we suddenly ask question from somewhere else, that might fluster that person, all right, because the story is so rehearsed and he's trying to suppress the truth, it might fluster the person, all right. So we have in order to catch certain individual, we need to ask unexpected question, and we need to track down the details, and we need to reassure ourselves that no, the inconsistency is there. So we need to deep it deep dive a little bit deeper onto the interrogation. Okay, next, verifiability approach. That means if a person is telling that I was in certain place last night, so we need to check for the we need to verify the data. We need to verify the detail that a person has provided. All right. We just cannot rely. It seems so natural. It seems so honest. So yes, we can trust that. We need to cross check the information. All right. And then micro expression and voice. So few individuals are there who are very expert in it. Okay. जब आप काफी इंटेरोगेशन कर चुके होते हैं, you have studied psychology well, you are very good at detecting some subtle micro expression, all right, and that expression is not necessarily be long lasting, all right, वो split second के लिए showcase किए जाते हैं and you need to detect it then, all right, like some voice stresses, some raising of the pitches, and it might not be foolproof, but if we combine it with all the cues that we got, we can detect whether a person is lying or not, but it surely does take expertise. Okay, we cannot learn it overnight and we cannot learn it from the books. It comes from experience, it comes from different approaches that we go through and that we meet when we do several and different kind of interviews and interrogation. All right. Now, if we need to do a proper and an effective lie detection, there are such certain practices that considered to be best. All right. First is baseline first. That means we need to set a baseline, that we need to know how an individual reacts about a basic question. What's the baseline of it? Matlab how a person normally reacts. Have conversation with the individual, relax him, so that you know this is the baseline and this is how a individual reacts to certain situations, normal situation per se. Now, we cannot just rely on the cues, we cannot just rely on the statement, and we cannot also just rely on the story. We need to corroborate the evidences with the psychological aspect that we have driven from an individual. We cannot just go because we have assessed certain kind of result from an individual. That's the utmost evidence that we need. No, we need to actually collaborate and corroborate the evidences alongside the statement and the analysis that we have driven from an individual. So now we need to look for a single sign cannot define or cannot detect lies. We need to cluster the cues. We need to have multiple cues and signs whether a person is lying or not. Okay, so reliability over a single sign is not considered in court of law and shouldn't be considered in psychological analysis. And last, that we should use ethical, non coercive questioning. Ethical, you all get, non coercive means the question shouldn't be suggestive. The question shouldn't be manipulative. The question should be straight and in simple sentencing so that it cannot influence the statement of an individual. So these are the best practices in the case of lie detection. So now we are done with the session. You understood or not, that is something that you have to tell me by yourself, not only just in feedback forms. I need to listen. Somebody's typing something. Okay, what about brain mapping test? Can you explain the question? What do you need to know about it? Somebody asked about brain mapping, no? Dipshika, what were you asking about brain mapping? I guess she's not on the call. Okay, any other questions? No questions? Okay. If just in case you have any question, you can drop it onto the group as well. So this is it for the session. I hope you guys learned something from it and will apply something in your studies. Okay, so that's it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, please
Thank you,
read
ma'am.
that form.
Okay, you're welcome. What?
Ma'am, resend form.
Actually, the host will do it. I don't have the form with me. They'll be sending it onto the group, I guess. Okay, so thank you for being very wonderful audience. And I hope in the next session you all will be very interactive, more inclined toward answering the questions. See you soon. Bye bye. Good night, guys.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful session and this wonderful workshop. From Thinks, we would like to present a certificate for you. Again, thank you so much, ma'am. Guys, please fill the attendance form.